It was late afternoon in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Ohio. The leaves of early fall crunched beneath small shoes as two children, a boy of 11 and his younger sister of 8, made their way up the worn stone path that led to a two-story house. They stood there for a long moment, shivering from both the cold and uncertainty, before knocking timidly on the door. The door creaked open, revealing a man in his late 30s, tall, broad-shouldered, with tired eyes. He blinked at them, almost as if he had seen ghosts. "Dad," the boy whispered. We came to see you." The man's face darkened immediately. He stepped forward and pulled them quickly inside, glancing nervously over his shoulder as though trying to hide them from the world. "Why did you come here?" he demanded in a harsh whisper. "Don't you know I have a new family now?" The boy looked down at his torn sneakers. "Dad, we need money. We haven't eaten since morning. We don't even go to school anymore." The man's heart clenched painfully. "What are you talking about? What about the $$4000 child support I send to your mom every month?" At that, both children lowered their heads, shame pressing down on their thin shoulders. The girl finally spoke, her small voice trembling. "Dad, Mom goes out every night with her boyfriend. She gambles." A tear slid down her cheek. "Dad, can we live with you? Please." The father staggered back as if struck. His whole body trembled with the weight of their words. But his voice came out rough, defensive. "My God, no. You can't. I'm married now. My wife, she won't accept this." As if on cue, footsteps approached. From the hallway, a woman emerged, his wife, Sarah. She was in her early 30s, her rounded belly revealing the pregnancy that was nearly full term. Her hand rested on the wall for support as she stared at the scene before her. Two frightened, hungry children standing in her home. "Honey," the man stammered, panic rising in his throat. I can explain." But Sarah turned wordlessly and walked away. In desperation, he shoved a stack of bills into the children's hands. "Go now, before you cause trouble. I'll visit later." His voice shook, heavy with guilt. But before the children could take a step toward the door, Sarah reappeared. This time she was carrying 2 steaming plates of food. Her eyes softened as she bent down to their level. "Kids, have you eaten?" she asked gently. The boy shook his head. The girl's stomach growled in answer. "Sit down," Sarah said, guiding them to the dining table. "Eat as much as you want." The children devoured the food as though it were their first real meal in weeks. Tears of gratitude welled up in their eyes. Sarah stood nearby, her heart breaking at the sight. Afterward, she led them to the bathroom, where she washed their small hands, wiped the grime from their tired faces, and carefully fixed their tangled hair. For the first time in a long while, they felt the touch of a mother's tenderness. Later that evening, Sarah pulled her husband aside. Her voice was firm, but her eyes were filled with compassion. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked. He rubbed the back of his neck, ashamed. "I didn't know how you'd react. I thought it would be easier just to give them money and send them away." Sarah shook her head slowly. Money alone can't bring real happiness to children. They don't just need food or clothes. They need a family. They need love. His shoulders slumped. "But it's unfair to you. You're about to give birth. You don't need this extra burden." She placed a gentle hand on his arm. Her voice carried quiet strength. "It's not a burden. It's a blessing. I'll give them the love of a real mother." Unbeknownst to them, the children had been standing just outside the doorway, listening. When they heard her words, they rushed forward. Tears streamed down their faces as they clung tightly to Sarah, their small arms wrapping around her. "Don't leave us," the girl sobbed. "Please." Sarah bent down, hugging them both, tears in her own eyes. "I won't. You're safe now." The father stood frozen, overwhelmed by guilt, relief, and awe all at once. For years, he had carried the shame of his broken marriage, believing that money could patch the wounds it had left on his children. But in that moment, watching his wife embrace the kids he had nearly turned away, he realized something profound. True family is not just blood, and real love is not measured in dollars. It is measured in sacrifice, in care, and in unconditional acceptance. From that day forward, their house was never the same. There were toys scattered in the living room, children's laughter echoing through the halls, and extra shoes by the front door. Sarah treated the boy and girl as her own, helping them with homework, tucking them into bed at night, and soothing their fears with lullabies. For the children, The emptiness that had gnawed at their hearts for years began to fade. They finally felt safe, wanted, and loved. And when their baby sibling was born months later, they weren't just step-siblings, they were a family. The father, who had once been paralyzed by fear of rejection, learned that sometimes the greatest love comes not from protecting oneself, but from opening the door to others. He realized that his wife's heart was bigger than his own fears, and that her courage had saved his children from despair. And Sarah, though she had no blood tie to those two kids, proved something that the children would never forget. A real mother is not the one who gives you life, but the one who shows you how precious that life truly is. So if you ever wonder whether she did the right thing, just look at those children's eyes, no longer hollow with hunger, but bright with hope. And yes, drop a heart, because she gave them something priceless. She gave them family.